throw this out, actually. There's rumors today, according to Midu, I'm throwing it out there, and the Mo Salah has agreed terms to go to Saudi in the summer, and he's going to leave.
Who said that?
Mido.
Him.
Yeah, I call him Midu.
Is he reliable?
Wait, why is Ram saying him like he's already familiar with his game?
I know him. I was like, who the hell's Mido?
Harry, is he a reliable source? Has he broken major stories before?
Well, he's not claiming. He's not claiming. Yeah, he's an ex-footballer. He's an Egyptian footballer. He used to play for Tottenham, actually.
Him? Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah. And he's basically saying, I mean, he'd have been a much better player if he didn't put so much weight on all the time. He just, again, bad decision making. But he has essentially said that he knows through his connections that Mohamed Salah has already signed a pre-agreement with a Saudi club. Are you worried about losing him in the summer?
Yes and no. It depends, because if we end up losing him in the summer and getting a replacement, or maybe even a new manager that comes in doesn't want to use Salah like that. Maybe he wants to play something different. Like if you look at say for example, what Alonso plays, he doesn't really play with out and out inside forwards like that. He plays mainly two creative tens in Hoffman and Wirtz. So if it's something along the lines of that, then I wouldn't be too concerned. But again, losing a player like Mo Salah is going to be hard to replace or recreate him. So hopefully we can get, if we are going to sell him, we can get some good money for him and we can find the right replacements, because we are losing circa 30 to 40 goals in all comps a season. And that is hard to recreate.
Top 3 replacements for you, Ram. Top 3.
Come back to me later. I don't know.
There you are. I can't lie. I think this was bound to happen. As soon as Klopp was leaving, I already knew Salah was gonna go. I already knew, because I feel like the only reason why he really stayed is because Klopp is there. Because Klopp is there, because of what they built. I don't think he wanted to leave yet, because there was all that Saudi stuff. Saudi are really pushing this because of him and what he is, an Arab footballer. He can be the face of their football league. He's still a very good footballer as well. And listen, it will be massive for them. It will be massive for him as well, to be the face of Arab football, to be a Muslim and be at the front foot of that. I think it's brilliant. And I think he would generally go for it this season. He'll be like, listen, hopefully we can win the league or something like that this season. And then I'm going to go at the end of the season. At least I'm leaving on a high note. But listen, they've already run the League Cup. They got to go for the other trophies. But I really think he's gone at the end of the season.
I'm with Sad, man. I think he's gone Klopp as well. When Klopp was announced he's gone, I was like, yeah, Salah's going as well, man. This is like the perfect time for him to leave, So yeah, you just got to hope that you get some big cash, and that you got to get a replacement in. You got to get someone that can replace his goals somehow.
I think the one thing.
Sorry, let me just say this. This is the last dance for Liverpool. Enjoy it. This is your last hurrah. Your chance to try to leave on a high. And the whole team. The whole team is pretty much coming apart. You're gonna have Klopp leaving. Then you're gonna be seeing. Then you're gonna be seeing Van Dijk going. Also, you never know who else could be around the corner. Trent Alexander-Arnold could be looking at Real Madrid. Be like, oh, that's interesting. They got.
He's a dangerous guy, bro.
So it's Mo Salah and Klopp will be the first major domino to see Liverpool going into their new era, which is going to be fighting for top 4 and potentially rebuilding to get their next big.
Do you know what?
At this moment in time, if you were to sell him, you're getting a big cash outlet for a player who's 30. It's amazing, and you guys can probably rebuild a little bit quicker with that sale.
Igor was basically telling us what he tweeted a few weeks ago. He thinks it's now the era of Arteta and Pep. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, that's what he's thinking. No, say it, bro.
Listen, Liverpool, first of all, right now we've replaced Chelsea in the top 4. Next, our goal is to replace Liverpool fighting for the league consistently. And then after that is to replace City as the best team in the country. No debate.
3 more phases. I thought we was out of phases.
3 more phases. I thought we were phase 5.
I thought we was done on that, bro.
Hey, you guys are making it seem like these phases aren't realistic.
Are you not the slightest bit worried? Are you not the slightest bit worried? Because if we do end up getting it right, and say Xabi Alonso does come in,
you're taking
the slightest little bit worried that we might go further and even better what Klopp did. Because that is also an option.
Listen, don't take this as disrespect. This is just the honest truth.
I'm asking the question. Ask the question.
Let me say my point before you jump. My point is, I am not worried about Liverpool in the foreseeable future because at this moment in time, I'm seeing Liverpool going through drastic change, and with drastic change comes regression. From Liverpool Football Club, we're going to see slight regression. I'm not saying they're finished as a club. I'm not doing the whole they're going to be outside of the top 4. They're going to be finished. Even if you sign the right manager, even if you bring in a replacement for Mo Salah, I don't see Liverpool competing at the top of the table next season verbatim.
Why not?
I slightly agree with that, and I'll tell you for why. Yeah, because the effect that Jurgen Klopp has on a team is very different to an effect. And listen, I don't agree with the whole Liverpool going to drop off massively or Liverpool going to drop off. I do think there's going to be a slight drop off though. When a new manager comes in, no matter unless you bring in like a world-class manager who has been in the game for years and knows how it is to come into a team, knows how it is to handle his team properly, I think there's going to be a slight drop off from Jurgen Klopp because that's how much of a great manager he was. So there is going to be a slight drop off, but I don't think it's going to be as mad as to say, like, obviously you guys would drop off out of the title, out of the top 4 race or anything. I think he'll still be within the top 4 race just for them to get used to his system. And then possibly within the next year or two, you'll probably be back to challenging for titles, especially if you get Xabi Alonso.
Yeah, that's best case scenario though, isn't it, bro?
Excuse me. We're disrespecting. It might take. You're disrespecting Klopp, thinking that all of a sudden he's going to leave Mo Salah, who's Liverpool's best ever player since Steven Gerrard leave, or some people say he's even better than Steven Gerrard. And you think they're still going to be competitive.
Yes, Egal. No, but did you listen to what I said? I said, okay, for one season they might be out of challenging for the Prems and that. Yeah, let's say for instance, okay, let's put out a story here. Yeah, Xabi Alonso comes to Liverpool in the summer. Yeah. Great, he's the manager now. Okay, 1 year there's a drop off. He gets them in the top 4, in and around them spots, and he implements his style of play with the players. Yeah, he then has a transfer window and he gets them back to challenging for titles. It's not completely out of the realm of possibility, is it?
So I don't think it's out of the realm. You think Xabi Alonso? Of course, you rate Xabi Alonso so highly that you think he can come into Liverpool, even though they're going to be changing of the guard and they're going to have a lot of changes behind the scenes, and you think everything's going to be fine.
No, this is my question to you because you still fail to answer it.
Why
can you not see that possibility of us going that step further and maybe exceeding what Klopp has done?
No.
Okay. Name me one legendary manager who left and the team was.
Bro, you can't say that.
Bill
man.
Shankly and Bob Paisley.
Come on, we're talking about back in the days.
You said give you a manager.
Egal, what it is, yeah.
We're talking about back in the days when football, the kitman would come in and he would take over a generational manager.
Frank Rijkaard and then Pep Guardiola.
Bro, let's be honest. How many years did Liverpool?
I gave you names. I just gave you 2 examples, and you still don't want to hear it.
I know people hate this.
One at a time, guys. One at a time.
I have to land this point. How many people back in the days replaced their legendary manager with kitmen and still won the league? So we can't really compare.
Hang on, Egal. Sorry, I was with you on a lot of this. What kitmen have taken over legendary teams and become legendary managers?
Liverpool had kitmen come over and take over their squad and still win league titles. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'll Google search it right now and I'll tell you.
What kitman?
I'll tell you.
Google now, bro. I need to know who this kitman was because I want to shake his hand.
Yeah. Why did you say that, man? Your argument was solid.
You might be right. I just don't never heard about this ever.
That was too funny.
No, I'm serious. I've never heard of this. I want to know who it is.
Just to clarify,
then, manager. He means a caretaker manager that's coming. Not necessarily a
just to clarify, yeah. How hard do you think Liverpool are going to fall there next season? How hard do you think they're going to fall?
He keeps avoiding.
How hard are Liverpool going to fall next season?
They're gonna be like fighting for top 4.
So they're not going to fall hard.
Yeah.
All you're just saying is a hyperbole. Then there's just going to be one blip, and then we're going to be back to challenging.
Yeah, I look at that again. I think there's a drop off slightly, but you're making it sound like they're going to fall into the abyss. Where what you're really saying is they're going to stub their toe and trip.
I did emphasize that clearly, but I'm saying this is a changing of the guard. This is no longer Liverpool competing for the league consistently, competing for the Champions League consistently. At the top
consistently, then.
When I say consistently, year after year.
What? So after 1 year of blip, you don't think we're going to come back and challenge year after year?
Can I make this very clear? You've changed your whole midfield. You're now about to get rid of Mo Salah and Jurgen Klopp, and you think in 2 years' time you could potentially compete again?
That new midfield is probably for the next manager.
No, bro, it's not happening.
What do you mean now?
The reality of the situation is
we're playing soccer style with an attacking midfielder.
Jurgen Klopp leaves. You're going to realize how much of an imprint he had in the club and how much of the success is down to his brilliance.
You know it is.
And that's why we're putting a director of football in place, and that's why we're going to get a new manager who liaises with that director of football.
And then the double-edged sword.
What we were in 2018,
and then the double-edged sword. And then the double-edged sword is you're trying to remove your best player in the Jurgen Klopp era in Mo Salah with him is going to be nearly impossible.
I agree. Listen, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. Yeah, I do think that Liverpool will probably find themselves in a top 4 sort of thing next season. Yeah, but I feel like you're going a little bit too early with everything that you're saying, because we don't know who they're going to bring in, what manager they're going to bring in. We don't know what replacements are going to come in. You know what I mean? If they go and bring, for example, like a Bowen, I don't think he's at the same level as Salah, obviously, but he still brings in numbers. You know what I mean? Goals and assists, he can still score. If they again bring in a guy like Xabi Alonso, that's dangerous. You know, let's not act as if the league's full of world-class managers. The only world-class managers really is Pep and Klopp. And then after that, you've got your level down, which is Arteta and whatnot. You know what I mean? So I think you're going a little bit too early, man. You have to see what they do in the summer. You know what I'm saying?
I think even if you look at Xabi Alonso and you look at what he's done with Bayer Leverkusen, like let's say obviously he wins the league now and he comes into Liverpool, I don't think it's completely out of the realm of possibilities for him to get his players or keep whatever players he wants and get rid of the other players that he wants to get rid of, getting some new players to fit his system. It looks like from what he's shown at Bayer Leverkusen, it looks like he's got a pretty good grasp of what his style of play is, how to implement it. He's got plan A, plan B. So if they do get Xabi Alonso, I think they could be within 2 years. They could be back to challenging with Xabi Alonso. I rate him as much as a coach.
Using your hypothetical, Salah doesn't work in Alonso's system because he doesn't play those kind of wingers. He doesn't.
Yeah. I think Salah is going to leave. So I'm not including Salah.
No, but then that just adds on to the point that if a player doesn't work in your system and he leaves and you get more money for him and invest it into good players.
If Gal ends up being right, and he could be. Then it shows that the infrastructure at Liverpool over the last 7-8 years hasn't been particularly good. It shouldn't fall down when a manager leaves. Man United's infrastructure wasn't very good, and what the 2 people left that run it, and the whole thing fell apart. As an example, Chelsea situation, it wasn't actually being run very well even before Roman left, because if you're a well-oiled machine, new people can come in and pick up the reins and take over. If you're not, then it all hell breaks loose, because essentially it's you ever seen like those shows where someone moves a fridge and there's like a cockroaches behind them and it all goes crazy and goes mad? That's what badly run clubs are like. You unearth a few things and it all starts falling apart. And I don't know. I think Liverpool are going to be all right. I agree with Igal that there's going to be a drop off. I don't think there is no manager in the world that's going to replace Klopp, because I think he's the second best manager in the world. There's going to be a drop-off. I just think you're going to become a little bit more human for a few years. But I still think you're in the top 4. I still think you can win any of the cup competitions that you were in. And who knows, though? I mean, Alonso could take you to another level, potentially. That's the example in your history where it's happened before you mentioned it. It was Shankly and Paisley. Paisley won more trophies. Paisley won the 3 Champions Leagues. And I'm not taking anything away from Paisley, but listening to Liverpool fans, what Bill Shankly built in the years before it was the long-standing foundation and infrastructure that allowed Paisley to come in and deliver. You know, I'm not taking it for, you know, it's a. The word is meant to be a football club. When you're a leader at a football club, it's about stewardship. Is a really important thing. Leaving the club in a better situation than you arrived in. And if you genuinely do that, if you genuinely do that. It's a little different in their era because those guys actually run the clubs. It's changed in the last 20 years where the manager doesn't just run the club, the director of football does as well. So there is a little bit of a difference now. But I just don't think, I think Liverpool are a well-run club. So I just think there's going to be a good transition, but with a drop-off.
I think also what Agal makes the point of like Salah leaving, Van Dijk apparently is going to be leaving along with Trent. He forgets that we've had great players leave our club. We've had Terrace leave our club and we signed Suarez. We have Gerrard retire, and we still end up winning trophies. Like we've had great players, like Keegan, and then Dalglish came along.
Ram, don't use Torres. Don't use Torres as an example because that guy was finished. We stole
Torres and we signed a cannibal instead, and look what happened. I mean, he was pretty good, Luis Suarez. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean? There's people come and go, but we've been okay. Liverpool have still been there or thereabouts.
You were never. So he's left. My point is, you were never this good. Let's be honest, Liverpool in the 30 years, you were good at times, but you were never as good as under Jurgen Klopp. In those years that you've had Jurgen Klopp, those 7 years, this has been your golden generation for the last 30 years, in my opinion. And if you were to replace Jurgen Klopp and the best player in that team, and potentially your best ever club center back, these are potential possibilities this season that you guys are telling me you're still going to be fine in the foreseeable future. I'm not saying your club is finished. I'm just merely saying you're not going to be expected to have the expectations of competing for the league, expected to have the expectations of competing for the Champions League as you do this season. That's all. Is that crazy? No. And is it possible that you guys could be competitive? Yes. But is it possible that you're going to be as good? I don't think so. I think that's out of the realm of possibility.
Okay, we think it's going to be only like a season, or maybe a season and a half.
No, I think you think that football is instant success like Chelsea did, and you're going to be quickly.
No, it's not, Igal.
That's not what we're saying. You're going to quickly find out that even 2 years to think you're going to be back to where you are right now is going to be too difficult.
Igal, the only thing I think you're missing here is that Liverpool are not in trouble. If, for instance, Liverpool would... So
you weren't in trouble under Sir Alex.
No, but their squad was aging, but we were behind this. This is the difference. We weren't. We won trophies in the 9 years that Fergie worked with the Glazers because Fergie still had a large amount of control. Fergie left, and then the Glazers put all their people in to run the club, and it fell apart pretty quickly. So if Klopp leaves, and then FSG turn around and go, right, we're going to go and hire all of our banker friends and commercial people to run the football club, then I agree with you. They're going to fall apart. They're absolutely going to fall apart. But I don't believe they're going to do that. Liverpool don't need a rebuild in the same way that Man United right now need one. In the same way that Arsenal needed one 4 years ago. The same way that City needed one from the day they were taken over because of where they sat in the pyramid of football. Liverpool are right up by the top. And there may be a small drop-off. But Liverpool fans should be demanding and should expect instant success. They should be demanding, challenging for all the domestic trophies, finishing in the top 4 and being competitive in the league at least year 1. And they should be demanding by year 2, whoever comes in with what they spend is challenging for Premier League titles. There's no way that they should be going, it's another 3 to 4 year process again. That's only happens when your team's been in the doldrums at our level of the game. You can't be competing for the league every year, pretty much.
I need to respond to Terry so you understand my point. Okay. Terry, your Manchester United team had a player who carried your squad offensively. Liverpool have a player who carries their squad offensively in Mo Salah. Your team at the time had a bedrock.
No, it's not though, Igal. That's not true.
Hang on, let him finish. I don't get the point so far.
Your team at the time, you said behind the scenes didn't have that good of a people behind the scenes. Liverpool have to reshape the people behind the scenes because they have a lot of them have been chopping and changing and leaving. They after the guy left, their main man left, the second in command also left, and right now they're trying to get him back. So if they can get the backroom staff going on, your premise stands, Terry. But at this moment in time, I don't believe Liverpool's backroom staff is being put together correctly. I think Jurgen Klopp
based on again, what are you basing that on? What's wrong with the people they have at the club right now?
This is what I'm basing it on. Okay, number one, their transfer strategy lately looks good, but I think it's a lot down to Jurgen Klopp's transfers. I think everything is down to Jurgen Klopp. I think the people behind the scenes listen to Jurgen Klopp and he calls all the shots. So when he leaves, they don't have the structure to support another manager like they did when Jurgen Klopp came in. At this moment in time, I don't know who the director of football is, but he's the third now in a span of 4 years that have come in to the position.
No, but it's everyone.
I think Jurgen Klopp had more position of power, and if he is to leave, it's a similar situation to Sir Alex leaving, and a similar situation to Arsene Wenger leaving, where he controls majority of the power.
No, it's not. Otherwise, it's not.
But this is
It's never been like that at the club.
Let's let Ram, the Liverpool fan, respond.
It's been all about the team, the overall team, the scouting departments. Everyone's been involved with it. Obviously, Jurgen Klopp has a say with those players because he has to make sure those players.
Who came in after Michael Edwards?
It was Julian Ward.
Where is he?
He's an Ajax. What's your point?
My point exactly. Who's this new guy?
What's your point?
What's the point?
My point is, Michael Edwards helped build this team. The second in command to Michael Edwards also left this team. Who is the person who's behind the scenes right now? How much power does he actually have?
Well, he's the one that's going out in the transfer zone. And if you want to know it, Gal, Alexis McAllister was signed by Julian Ward. So what's your point?
I think Jurgen Klopp has a lot more power behind the scenes.
Based on what? Where are you getting that information from to make you think that?
Based on the fact that they've had so much changeover behind the scenes, Terry.
But where have you read this? You can't just surmise it. Where have you read it? What's indicated it?
Terry, Michael Edwards left the club. The second
find out your source, man. You're finding out a lot of background information today.
Terry, it's quick. Just put 2 and 2 together. Michael Edwards left the club. The second in command is now supposed to help run the club and the transfers. He also left the club. And now you're seeing Liverpool making all these signings, and you're hearing the recommendations from their second keeper, or their assistant manager is making the recommendations for some of these signings, like the Gakpos of the world. So I personally think Michael Edwards leaving, his second in command leaving, Jurgen Klopp is running the club, and their current CEO.
I get you. Someone in the comments says it's an opinion, Terry. I get it's an opinion, but opinions can be wrong, and opinions have to be based on.
My opinion is based on the man.
Yeah, let me finish speaking. An opinion has to be based on something, at least loosely factual. Like we all,
So wait, hold on. Someone said he got info in his nap.
Terry, why did Michael Edwards and this other man leave? I genuinely believe the reason why they left was because Jurgen Klopp wanted more power in the transfers. And since then, I think more of the signings have been his signings rather than the club signings.
And mate, look, again, it's an interesting theory. I think there could be some element of truth to it. But I think there's a little bit, Igal, of like hopium in there. A little bit of hopium. A little bit of this is what Ram, we're going to move on just because interest of time. We've got a lot of super chats.